and welcome to the Way of Prayer. I wanted to continue some of our work that we've done on the threefold rule of prayer, and today focus on the piece of the daily office. The threefold rule of prayer encompasses Eucharist, office, and personal devotions. And so a lot of times the daily office can seem daunting to people because they haven't been shown how it works. And there are a lot of options in the prayer book that can make things confusing the first time you look at it. So fortunately, what we have is a couple of resources. I'm going to share two of them with you today, the Mission of St. Clare and the Forward Day by Day, which will help you because they take all the guesswork out of praying the office. They do all of the planning, they look up the readings, the Psalms, and they just present it to you. And so all you have to do is follow along and pray it. So the first one on the screen here is the Mission of St. Clare. So you go to missionofstclare.com/English. There are other languages available as well. And it says right here, tap this sentence or the image to go directly to morning or evening prayer for today. So I'm going to do that. Click here, and it comes up. So we have Thursday morning prayer, remembering the Saint Ignatius of Antioch. Also, this is is Thursday in one of the Sundays of ordinary time, following proper 23. But you don't need to know that part. All you need to know is just here is morning prayer, and go ahead and follow it. So we have our opening sentence. Mission of St. Clare includes a lot of extra things. So here is a hymn. You can even click on one of these and listen to it if you're inclined to do so. There is the confession. And here we have the part of Lord, open our lips. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. And then the introductory psalm, the Venite. So you will read through that. You come to the psalm appointed. For today, it's Psalm 18, verses 1 through 20 in morning prayer. So just go ahead and read through. And here's something worth knowing, that one of the best ways to pray the Psalms, and what's actually the prayer book instructs us to do, is right over here, you'll see a little asterisk. And that there's an asterisk on each verse, and that divides the verse in half by meaning. And so what we do is pause at this asterisk, just for the course of a really good breath. Some people have even suggested that the pause should be for the count of 3, and then you silently say the word Jesus, say the sacred name Jesus. So what you might do, just for verse 1, I'll give a demonstration. I love you, O Lord, my strength. O Lord, my stronghold, my crag, and my haven. And what that pause does is gives you just a moment to become even more attentive, to pay attention to the presence of God in your midst, the gift of the Holy Spirit within your heart, and the fact that you are speaking, particularly in this psalm, you are speaking directly to God. I love you, O Lord, my strength. Just take for a moment and let that sink in. Really think about those words. So there's some advice for praying the Psalms. So in this particular day, we'll come down to verse 20. We'll pray that psalm. Afterwards, there's always the Gloria Patri, or the glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Then we have our lessons. We have the Old Testament lesson. After each lesson, there's always a canticle, and they have selected the Song of Moses. So you would say the Song of Moses. You know, again, there's this asterisk here, which gives you an opportunity to pause and to become attentive. Right, we have the New Testament lesson from 1 Corinthians. Afterwards, another canticle, the Song of the Redeemed. Oh, and here they've actually included all 3 lessons appointed for today. So there's the Gospel lesson also. This is a little bit unusual. Traditionally, at morning prayer, there is, at least following the 1979 Book of Common Prayer, there are 2 lessons in morning prayer and 1 lesson in evening prayer. But here they decided to do 3 lessons, which is always an option. So they have the Gospel. After the Gospel, there is a commemoration. This is extra, but this is to remember St. Ignatius. So it tells a little bit about him. So you can read that. Mm. Then we have a prayer for Ignatius of Antioch. Mm. Then we have the Apostles' Creed, the Lord's Prayer, a set of suffrages, and these all follow the prayer book. So just go ahead and read them. Well, the other thing I like about this is that it arranges everything in, they take out a lot of the celebrant, or not the celebrant, the officiant and the people. So just in the case that you're praying this on your own, you just read it. Then we have the collect of the day. We have a collect for mission. They have a couple things here that are extra: the World Cycle of Prayer, Ecumenical Cycle of Prayer, and a collect for the renewal of life. They have another hymn which they've included. Some more prayers and intercessions. Again, these are extras. For peace among nations, for those in the armed forces of our country, for the conservation of natural resources, a closing hymn. They have a prayer attributed to St. Francis, and finally the general thanksgiving and the prayer of St. Chrysostom. Be honest, usually when I'm praying the daily office, I use only one of the prayer of thanksgiving, the general thanksgiving, or the prayer of St. Chrysostom. I'll do one at morning prayer and the other at evening prayer. And we say, "Let us bless the Lord." They have another hymn. And that is it for morning prayer. If you continue to scroll down on this page, you'll see they've got noonday prayer, evening prayer stuff. And so I'll put a link to this this video in the comments section or in the description, so you can go back and look at it as you would like. So that's the Mission of St. Clare. They also have an app that's available on your phone that you can look that up if you'd like to have it right there on your phone, perhaps during your morning commute if you're not driving, or first thing in the morning, or however, whatever works with your schedule. You can use this to say your daily prayers. All right, a similar resource comes from Forward Movement. Many people are familiar with Forward Day by Day, which is right here. They publish that, and a lot of people read it. But it was Forward Day by Day was designed to be used with the daily office. And so on their website, and again, like the Mission of St. Clare, Forward Movement also has an app that you can look up, and that will lead you through each prayer. So I'm going to click on this. It says Pray the Daily Office. It'll take a little moment for it to come up. Okay, here we go. Daily prayer for October 17th, 2019. All right, and since it's a little bit later in the afternoon, what's come up is noonday prayer. And so it'll lead you through noonday prayer here. If I did this earlier in the morning, morning prayer would have come up. If you have the app on your phone, you can pick which one you're ready to pray, depending on what time of day it is. So here we have noonday prayer. "Oh God, make speed to save us. Oh Lord, make haste to help us." There's a psalm. There's a chapter. And notice this follows the same general structure. I tend to prefer the Forward Movement version, this one right here, just because it doesn't have all of the extra things. I like the really back to basics version of the daily office. So this is the one I tend to use. But it has the same structure of psalm, reading, and prayers. So there's the little chapter. You have the prayers. We go through, and boom, there you've done noonday prayer. Now, if you're just getting started, a couple of pieces of advice. Don't try to pray every office every day. That's going to drive you nuts, because it's a lot. What you have to do is start with one office, and there's 4. There's morning prayer, noonday, evening prayer, and compline. And so pick one of those and make that your practice. Say, I'm going to do, for example, compline every night before I go to bed. And you can use your app, you can use the prayer book, and just do compline. And when that becomes familiar, when it really gets into your head and into your heart, and your soul is feeling like it's ready for a little bit more, then you can add another office. And it's all going to depend on you. If you need advice, speak with your parish priest. You can find a good spiritual director, but advice is always good too. Now, let's just say, for one other example, if either of these are too much. I'm still not getting it. There's just too much to do here. I'm not feeling like I'm praying very well. You can also turn right to the prayer book, and there are some smaller versions of the daily office right here. Now, this is a site, it's the online Book of Common Prayer, and what I am going to do is go to this section here, the daily office, and when you get to the actual pages, it follows the pages of the prayer book. So here is all the different versions of the office, rite 1, rite 2, there's some instructions concerning the service, order of service for noonday. What I am going to click on is daily devotions for individuals and families. Okay. And it says these devotions follow the basic structure of the daily office for the church. And so if you look right down here, where it says 136, daily devotions, if you were to open up a Book of Common Prayer to page 136, you would see that's exactly what you see there. So you can read this right out of your prayer book. I'm just using the online version for the purposes of this video. So there's 4 pages here. In the morning, you have, again, the same structure, psalm, reading, there's the Lord's Prayer, and the collect. This assumes that you know the Lord's Prayer. If you don't, you can look it up anywhere. There's even a version on this website where it has it written out for you right there. So there's morning prayer, in a very short version. Oh, and incidentally, when I got my first Book of Common Prayer when I was confirmed in college, this is what I did. I just found these four daily offices, 1-page versions, and I just did them morning, noon, evening, and night, which goes against the advice that I gave you previously of just starting with one. But because they were so straightforward, it just made sense to me. And also, it's okay that you're praying the same thing every day. It's meant to get into your heart. And so it's also meant to tune your mind towards God. If you followed some of the other videos on the way of prayer, like we had videos of the practice of the presence of God or the prayer of recollection, if you are doing those things while you are doing these offices, it's of incredible benefit. You're getting 100% of the spiritual growth and benefits that you will at this point in your spiritual life. So there we have morning prayer. I'll continue along. There's a 1-page for noonday prayer. That's on page 138, which you can see that right here. On page 139, there's a service for the early evening. And on page 140, at the close of the day, or also Compline. All right, so there we have three resources for you. The daily devotions for individuals and families, you have the Mission of St. Clare, and you have daily prayer from Forward Movement. I hope these are useful for you. I hope you'll try something out. Give it a try. Feel free to leave comments asking me questions or things. I'll be happy to answer them and to respond as best I can. And good luck, and God bless.